Matt,
Bryan.
here we are.
Mm-hmm. Good to see you again.
Yeah. So let's do another Ren song,
Sounds good.
another favorite Ren song of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see what we think.
Cool.
All right. Let's switch this to this, and we'll let it rip.
It's alright, it's okay. Feeling brave, gonna face this day. It's okay, it's alright. No tears will kiss my cheeks tonight, and it's so good, and I'm just fine. My words ring out like hollow shells. Just slow down, it takes time, but time moves slow, I know this well. My heart breaks 1,000 times a day. For every hope that dies, another one takes its place. Because I've got the strength of a mountain, I've got the courage of the deep blue sea. I have the heart of a lion, and the stars burn bright inside of me. And although you test me, my God, I stand so proudly, can't you see? I've got the strength of a mountain, and I'll take all you throw at me. This world is quite scary, I know that, cause I've been here for some time. But all that prepares me for a day when I can truly shine. Cause I've been so broken, I'm picking up fragments of myself. I'll glue them back together so I can stand at the edge of this world and yell. My heart breaks 1,000 times a day. For every hope that dies, another one takes its place. Because I've got the strength of a mountain, I've got the courage of the deep blue sea. I have the heart of a lion, and the stars they burn bright inside of me. And although you test me, my God, I stand so proudly, can't you see? I've got the strength of a mountain, and I'll take all you throw at me. I'll dust the cobwebs off this sheath and take the sword of my belief. And in this storm I will not flinch, I will not move, no, not an inch. Because I have the strength of a mountain, I've got the courage of the deep blue sea. I have the heart of a lion, and the stars they burn bright inside of me. And although you test me, my God, I stand so proudly, can't you see? I've got the strength of a mountain, and I'll take all you throw at me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you the lyrics
Oh,
here.
perfect. Yeah. That's so different than the other stuff we've been listening to.
Yeah, definitely.
And like in a really interesting kind of different. Like um even like the structure of the song is pretty straightforward, like verse chorus verse chorus verse chorus bridge chorus, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, that's really good. um how does this land in timeline with some of the other stuff that we've been listening
Oh,
to?
that's a good question. Let's see. Renovation. nominations. 2017.
Okay.
So, yeah. It might be a little before some of the other ones we were listening to. Let's see. Um, so yes, that was definitely before, say, High Ren and
Mm-hmm.
the Money Game stuff.
Yeah. Okay. 2017. That was the second year or year and a half or whatever of a change in leadership here at the U.S. because he talks a lot about U.S. politics and some of the Money Game stuff that we
Right,
listened to already.
right.
Um, do you know where it lands in like his like physical stuff?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because wasn't he like in bed or whatever for a couple of
Yep.
years or something?
Yeah, for a long time.
Hmm.
Let's see. So this was yeah, this sounds like it was soon after he first got sick.
Okay, so early in the process.
Yep.
It feels almost like an anthem about how he's going to approach, given that sort of time frame. It feels
Mm-hmm.
almost like it feels like an anthem about how he's going to approach this whole thing, and
Right.
like he's feeling brave. He's going to get up every morning and fight it. He's not going to let it get him down. There's a bunch of bad stuff that's still coming, but he's gonna bounce back because he still has strength and courage and the heart and energy and everything. Um,
Yeah, and he's definitely been through some stuff though as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Um,
It's not like it's not like he hasn't seen anything yet because it's like
yep.
still what 1,000 times a day. Is that what
Mm-hmm.
it says? My heart breaks a
Yeah.
1,000 times a day.
Yep.
Yeah,
I.
yeah.
What do you think about his like? How does this strike you with the way that he is? At least parts of this are him conversing with God.
Hmm.
Because some people uh, might get upset at the way that he's talking. Um,
Oh,
and kind of.
that never really occurred to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. uh, I don't know. I mean, as I was listening to it, I was thinking, oh, well, I like in my own theology, I don't really think of like God doing stuff to us that's like bad like this. It's like more like
Mm-hmm.
life happens to
Right.
us. So the line about I'll take all you throw at me. I mean, if he's talking to God about that, which it seems like he is because it's the end of the chorus. Um, I don't know if that's really what I like my theology that God's throwing stuff at us so much as like life throws stuff at us and and we see how we navigate it. But man, I don't know. I mean, one of my favorite movies, probably the most transformative film of like my young adult years, was The Apostle. And one
Mm-hmm.
of my favorite scenes is when he's up in like the bedroom shouting up at God, like you know um I call you Jesus, you call me Sonny, and like he's ranting and raving and angry. And to me, I was like, oh, I read this kind of a thing in the Psalms. I read this in the Old Testament, people crying out. I read,
Oh yeah. Job.
David's anger, Job, all this,
Yep.
like even Jesus at Gethsemane, like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, do I really have to do this? Um, and, to me, that's like just normal. Like God, in my theology and worldview, like God's plenty big enough to take my
Right. He can
rants
take.
and raving.
Yeah. To me, it adds it makes it the whole, everything feel more authentic.
Yeah,
Like you're talking to somebody. You're
yeah,
and I will confess that I've had times where I've been kind of like just like that. Like, really? what is the plan here? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or real, um,
Yeah,
so to me,
totally.
there's an authenticity in the way he's talking and an honesty that I
Yeah,
think is pretty cool.
yeah. I remember getting ready to do a big film project, and everything fell apart. Like, maybe not everything, but it felt like everything was falling apart. And two or three of the really big things were falling apart. And I was sitting in a broken down vehicle on the side of the road in like rural California, um, just shouting at God, like, "What are you doing? We're actually trying. Like, this whole project is designed to like be worshipful for our family, for our audience. Hopefully, it's a really wonderful experience for the people we're going to be interviewing and that were part of the documentary and everything. And it just felt like almost a personal assault that bad things were
Hmm.
happening. And then
Mm-hmm.
you get that out of your system and you pause, or at least for me, I got it out of my system. I paused and I was like, okay, hey, thanks for taking that, because that was a little ugly. And then you know and I got like a piece about like, hey, these things happen. This isn't It didn't feel to me like it was God like throwing all these things in my way. It felt more like all these things were getting thrown on my way, and God is actually the strength of the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
the depth of the sea, the heart of the lion. Like, all those things are actually coming from God. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, Ren that might be Ren's thinking in all of this too. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
But certainly there's a connection there. Um, uh, you know, it doesn't feel antagonistic to me. It feels like, and although you
Mm-mm.
test me, my God, I stand proudly. Can't you see I've got the strength of the mountain? I'll take all you throw at me. It feels less like a protest, and even the way he sings it and the style of the music, it doesn't come across as like a protest or an angry thing. It feels more like, hey, like, we're gonna do this. We're getting through this.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He. I mean, he's younger than the two of us, and it still strikes me when I hear his music and stuff how like he is a fiercely intelligent guy, but
Yeah.
he's also, I guess I would say, wise, because
Mm-hmm.
to me, like the lesson that I've kind of learned as I'm getting older and older and older is when you're going through bad stuff, or you're really sick, or you're depressed, or you're whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it can be really hard to think about how it's not always going to stay that way, because it hasn't always been that way. And
Yeah.
and that's kind of what this song is about. It's like, okay, I'm going
Yeah.
through whatever, but he can see the other side of it, um,
Yeah.
and that helps keep the optimism and stuff. That's kind of
Yeah.
uncommon for someone as young as he is. But
Oh, for sure. The second verse or the second verse, I think. The world's quite scary. I know because I've
mm,
been here for some time. Obviously, he's a young guy saying this, so some time is relative.
yep,
Um, but, I really love where he says, I've been so broken, I'm picking up fragments of myself. I'll glue them back together. You know, it's this idea that, like, I feel broken, I am broken, but that's not the end of the story.
right,
um because I'll figure this out. I'll glue them back together, and I'll stand at the end of the world, and I'll yell, which is sort of like this defiant, like, I'm not giving up.
yeah,
And that's beautiful to me. I love that. It's such an encouragement, sort of like, uh this feels like an anthem, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 He's one. For all the stuff he's been through and everything, he's one tough cookie too.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Well, even as we were listening to it, I'm watching the lyric and stuff. It almost to me feels like it could be even like a kind of worship song,
yeah,
like, we're getting through this kind of a thing. And yeah, maybe churches wouldn't want to do it just because it might sound or feel a little antagonistic, or like Ren versus God kind of a thing. But it's not how it plays.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah, and I mean a big piece of that is like the actual lyrics. Although you test me, my God, you
Right.
know, there's like it reminds me of like the covenant promise that's made, like God says, I'll be your God, you will be my people. And Ren's like, you know, you're my God, I'm your person. And we're getting through this. So,
Yep.
yeah, I
Or
love that.
uh, I'll dust the cobwebs off this sheath and take the sword of my belief.
Hmm.
And in the storm, I will not flinch. I will not move, not an inch.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't realize, I didn't notice this when we were watching it the first time, but like this idea of dusting the cobwebs off the sheath and taking the sword of my belief. I wonder how often, I guess it probably feels that way, but I don't note it, that like how often do we have to like pull out this sword to like fight for what we believe, or you know,
Mm,
that they gather cobwebs, because generally life isn't the worst ever, you know, but but we forget, and so when the bad times come, it feels like it's only the bad time, and
yes.
we ignore the good time. And I think the cobwebs really point to this idea that like there are long intervals a lot of times in life where things are good, and we don't need this battle stance, or the weapons to fight against the negative things happening in our lives.
Yeah.
So
I
that's a
would say
good
that's
reminder.
yeah. That's a core part of this. Why I love this song, I guess, is yeah. He's he's not letting the bad times completely overwhelm the entire picture.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, I can see why you connect. I mean, I've known you now for what, about 10 years, and you've certainly, well, all of us, but you know, I remember when you were going through some tough stuff, like you were still able somehow to stay positive, and like with students and with colleagues and all that kind of a thing, like there was still a joy in spite
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, like actual physical pain and
Right.
discomfort
Right.
and all kinds of
Yep.
things, and just unknowns. I mean, lots of
Yeah.
unknowns. Yeah.
Yep. And there was
Yeah.
another. Yeah, there was another part of this too. I'm not even remember where it is, but I think part of it points to his the reason a lot of people resonate with his stuff is because he has gone through a lot, and so you kind of feel like he understands uh, what it is to suffer, um, and yeah, that's what one of the things that I learned through suffering is that one of the benefits that can come out of it is the empathy that you have,
Hmm.
and the way that you can then communicate with other people who've been broken.
Yeah.
And I think he's like fantastic at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like his look at time. That like, hey, these things take time. Time moves slowly. Sometimes it feels like I'm shouting out and my words are hollow, but
Yep.
you know, they'll echo back. And
Here it is. Yeah, it's actually the line that you had said before, I think, or I know that because I've been here for some time. But all that prepares me for a day when I
hmm,
can truly shine.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah, the stuff that we go through actually readies us for future things that we'll keep going through.
right, and
Yeah.
helps you in relating to other people.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, if you're going through a horrible time or you're suffering or whatever, and somebody who has never really suffered or suffered to the degree that you are says, buck up, it's gonna land pretty flat.
Yeah. Yes. I have definitely received those words of
Mm-hmm.
encouragement that are like,
Yeah.
yeah, you say that, but everything in your life is hunky dory. Of course, that's
Right.
probably a pretty uninformed view of everybody's life,
Right.
too, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just that I don't know them well enough to know that they have suffered through things. But you're right. When I know the backstory and I hear that, it comes across as real encouragement.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you've lost if you lost a loved one and you're talking with somebody else who has as well, there's a
Hmm.
connection there that you're like, okay, yeah, you know how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who lost someone, who lost his spouse, and it was obviously just so devastating. And a person was trying to connect and trying to be an encouragement and trying to show some sympathy and empathy. And they're like, "Oh, I know just how you feel. My cat died a couple of weeks ago." And my friend
Oh
was just
man.
like, "So this is my spouse, and we were married for decades, and it was not my cat.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were very close to your cat, but I'm gonna
Yep.
walk away before I say something mean."
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah.
people are people I think are well intentioned, but you're right. Without that connection of
Yep.
experience, it's pretty. I mean, it that's rough for Ren to be such a young guy and have gone through all of this stuff. But I think what you said at the opening of this is it's really made him wise, and it's made him
Yeah.
insightful, and it's made him super articulate with his poetry and his lyrics. And yeah, I love listening
Yeah.
to this guy. He's good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's he sings a lot about what's things that aren't always pleasant, yet you come away with hope out of it.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
He seems like
there
he's
you
got
go.
a really positive outlook on life. Even like when we were watching or when we were going through the other songs that are much darker,
Yeah.
you still get this sense of like strength and
Yeah.
courage and actually those are some of the words he uses, right? Like
Yeah. And
courage and
defiance, like
strength.
you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kind of defiance against all this stuff that
Mm-hmm.
uh, I really appreciate.
Yeah. 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 So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What good stuff, man. Now I want to
Yeah.
listen to that. Now I want to listen to that even more. Like I should have that on my like pump me up like
Yeah.
playlist of
Yep.
like this is what I listen to on bad days. I do have sad jazz music that I listen to sometime on sad bad days,
Oh
rainy
yeah.
day stuff,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. But
I've got some real.
this might
Yeah.
be a good alternative.
And we didn't even talk about how, I mean, like his guitar playing on this is just perfect for the song. It's just he's got
It's
awesome touch and feel and
yeah.
composition and
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, and actually, even the melody, as I was listening to it, I just kept thinking he's making minute changes, but he's so good. Like he's so crystal clear on his tone that like
Yeah.
even just slight changes in the melody up and down, he's got such vocal control.
Yeah.
We listened to a lot of rap before, and he's got tons of vocal control there, but that's more. It feels more performative in like a spoken way.
Yeah.
I guess it's his rap is even a lot more spoken word maybe than like traditional rap, but like his singing and melodies here are just beautiful, and he doesn't
Yeah.
have to go way up high or way down low or have big vibrato or anything, but it's control. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's so good.
Yeah. He's kind of a genius.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it would
say
be
it.
nice to be
Yep.
in that camp, huh?